So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Thales. Donc, bienvenue chez Thales. On va la faire en anglais aujourd'hui. Donc, s'il y a des casques, il y a des casques pour les Français. Donc, je ne veux pas vous obliger de, donc, quand on a un anglais qui parle français, mais voilà. So, today will be in English. Welcome to Thales. Thank you for being here. So, today is our decisive moments for Citizens Day about cybersecurity. Thank you for those who have joined us from the UK, Australia, the UAE, India, Italy, Spain and Netherlands, Austria, and also from Paris. I know Vélizy-Paris is a long way, so thank you for making the trip all the way from Paris. Today we'll also be live on YouTube as well, so people who are not here can follow the day as well. Today you're in the Thales Learning Hub, which is the former Thales University. So it's been here now for about 9 months. The training centre of Thales around the world. About a third of the Thales training hours are actually done here in this new space, and also it's multi-purpose because we're here today for the Media Day. So we've got a busy day. We've got a keynote this morning from the head of the French Cybersecurity Agency, Guillaume Poupard. We have Marc Darmon as well, the head of the 6 GPU. We have some demonstrations everywhere for you. Do ask any questions that you have. We have the chairman, CEO Patrice coming later on as well to give a speech and answer your questions. And we also have a demonstration this morning with 2 of our ethical hackers to show you live what could happen to your mobile phone. So, just to get you in the mood, we're going to show you a video of what could our life be like if we didn't have cybersecurity with us. Okay, so this will hopefully, with a touch of humour, get you in the mood for the Cybersecurity Day. So, video.
Now that I think about it, there were a few signs. Something was not right, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it.
A whole series of bugs are affecting the principal transport networks and several major computer systems this morning. A number of international airports have been closed as a precaution for them.
Take your grab your.
Further information about what seems to be a global IT crisis have been confirmed.
Access to confidential data of many large companies has plunged global
into the red this morning, causing panic across the financial markets.
This could very well be the worst hacking in the history of the world. While many IT systems are not functioning this morning, paralysing cities around the world, we have heard
new revelations in the Kelly Adams scandal following the publication of a private email.
Teenagers all over the world are shocked to see their idol in such...
I can care less about Kelly Adams, to be frank. And anyway, it was high time to go to work.
Estimated time is approximately 8 days and 45 minutes.
The industrial security of this site cannot be assured today. We've therefore taken some exception.
Video surveillance systems are down, so they have to stop all subway activity for now.
The world is going through the worst IT crisis ever. Marie?
What we're experiencing right now really comes down to sudden and complete lack of cybersecurity.
Cybersecurity? I mean, there's a firewall on my computer, there's a password on my phone, I had it covered. And I had so much more on my plate.
I'm sorry, we won't be able to operate on anyone
What?
today. No, yes, we're having some technical problems. We can't access the files of any of our
Oh, is there
patients.
any way we could...
Oh, don't worry about your dad. Everything should be fine.
Oh, I see.
What did you say his name was again?
There was no way I was not going to go see my dad. But first, I had to get something to eat.
It's okay, you've paid already, sir.
Already? What?
Yeah, along with the washing machine, the TV, and the cuddly toy.
Oh, come on. I'd never done anything like that. In any case, I still needed to find some means of transportation.
And so even basic communication is proving extremely difficult. We've been informed that even many political leaders cannot be reached at this time.
Since being confronted by this exceptional situation, armed forces have been placed on high alert for the past 24 hours.
And this is how I got here. Matter of fact, I still don't know where I am. As for this night, it might not last long. What a day's been. And what I do not understand is why me? Why does this kind of thing always happen to me? Oh, come on!
So, we just wanted to give you a bit of a view of what life could be like without cybersecurity, just as a warmer-up. So to start this day, we're absolutely delighted, honoured to have Guillaume Poupard, who is the head of the French Cybersecurity Agency. And so we'd just like to welcome Guillaume up on stage.
Bonjour, hello. Sorry for my very French style English, but I will try to do it. Well, if you can be easily scared, you shouldn't talk with people from cybersecurity because, of course, what we see in the future is quite bad, quite difficult. The reason is quite obvious. We consider that everywhere we have digital things, we will have people who will try to use those systems to do bad things. And as you know, digital is now everywhere. The idea is not to stop it, but the idea is to do it in a good way. And when, well, in our agency, we are directly related to the Prime Minister. We work with all the ministries. We work with all the critical operators in France. We have to do it. It is the law in France. We're very proud of it. Well, we see very, very bad things today related to very different kind of attackers with very different kind of motivations. We observe a huge growth of cyber criminality. Cyber criminality is probably a new development for mafias, for criminal groups. We observe that they can earn a lot of money with it. Amounts of money that are quite unusual, even for people who are specialists in criminality. They say, we have never seen this. And it will probably continue to develop. And, well, we would say it's only criminality, so let's give it to the police and to the justice, and they will manage the problem. But it's more complex, because, for example, last year, we observed with the WannaCry attack that, well, almost anybody could be hit by such kind of attacks. And I'm sure that the attackers themselves don't know who are the real victims in practice. We had some in France, just a few of them. But to make a link with the movie, for example, in the UK, the health service has been attacked, has been blocked. The systems, the managing system of, I don't know how to say ambulance in English, so, the cars who bring these people.
Ambulance.
Ambulance, it was very easy to speak English. Well, all the system has been blocked for a few days. It has real consequences, clearly, on our life, and this will be worse and worse, clearly, if we don't react very quickly. We also have people who make intelligence using cyber. As you all know, intelligence is not new. Some people say it is the oldest job in the world. But we observe that with using cyber, using digital means, it is now possible to spy almost anybody, any kind of organizations all around the world without any contact, without taking a lot of risks. And that's the reason why probably we can explain the fact that we have more and more very important attacks against targeted victims who lose things that they shouldn't lose in terms of information and data. And who are behind those attacks? Who are the attackers? We don't know. Well, sometimes we know, but we don't say it in France. Not yet. We can have some criminal groups. We can have some states. We can have, of course, some intelligence services. But what we observe in our agency is that we lose things we should not lose, clearly. But the worst thing, if you are not yet enough scared, like in the movie, we really fear that critical operators could be attacked, not in order to have their data fed, but just not to work any longer. We can think about energy sector, for example, of course. We know that if there's no more energy, everything stops in the very short term. We think about transportation. We know, well, sometimes in France we don't need cyber attacks to have problem with transportation, but we know that if we no longer have trains, metro, planes, everything stops. All the economic activity stops. I do not say that those sectors are very, very vulnerable. I just say that we cannot accept they could be attacked. So we have to protect them. They have to react, and they react in practice, at least in France, in order to avoid the complete mess we have seen in the movie. And to be totally complete with the different threats we consider, since 2 years now, we have a new threat related to our democracies. We know now that some elections, some presidential elections, can be disturbed, manipulated by some countries who could modify the result of those elections if we don't do anything. It's a much more broader question of information manipulations, fake news, but we also observe that people have been attacked for example, in the US, during the presidential campaign for the presidential election. And, well, we'll probably never know if it has modified the result of the election. But on such a 50-50 election, we can consider that people were able to change the minds of just a few of the electors, could completely change the result of the election. So, for sure, we have a very broad range of threats. This is very bad news, for sure. The good news is that we know how to protect against those threats. And we have a list of security rules that must be applied by critical actors, critical operators, in order to protect themselves. And I often say, mainly to my friends from the army, that the best defense is defense. We must start with protection when we do cyber. We cannot only say, okay, we are waiting for attacks and we will react if they occur. It doesn't work. We probably need to be able to react, but the best protection remains protection. And that's what I explained to CEOs, to people who are in charge of ministries in France. They must prepare, they must understand the threats, they must develop awareness related to cybersecurity, and they must also, of course, do technical things. They must pay for it, probably. They have to build their digital systems taking into account cybersecurity. It's no longer possible to do very good things that are not secure and then to say, okay, if we need security, we will add it. It doesn't work. We must do security by design. Companies that do cybersecurity like this sentence, but it's true. We must do security by design. We must involve people who understand cybersecurity into the development of any kind of new complex digital systems. Military ones, civil ones, in all the domains. And we must also be able to detect the attacks. It's not enough just to place some walls around the systems. It's not efficient. We must be able to react very quickly and to do this to detect the attacks. And what we observed, we had a very interesting experience in France with the TV5 media channel. Well, TV5 was not an expert of cybersecurity, for sure. Now they are, for bad reasons. They have been attacked, I don't know by whom, but by an attacker who was very, very strong. So a very weak victim, a very strong attacker, but what we have understood after the attack is that the attacker needed to come into the system of TV5 2 months before the attack itself. Because even the very good attackers, they need to understand the systems, they need to prepare their weapons, they need to prepare their tools. So if we are able to detect the attackers during their first try to come into the systems, it is the only possibility to have advantage on the attack. So we need to develop detection of cyber attacks. So this is quite new. We talk of this only we've been talking for this about for 5-6 years. A bit more for some people, but not more. And that's the reason why we need, finally, I don't want to be too long, but we need, my position is that we need states that are responsible and that take cybersecurity as a priority, which is the case in France. We need some victims, or potential victims, that prepare for their own cybersecurity, just doing all what they have to do. As I said, in France, for the most critical operators, it is the law to do it, it's now mandatory. For most critical operators, they have to work with us. They have to notify the attacks. They have to implement the security rules we write. And we help them to do it. It is now the case in Europe, in all Europe, with the NIS directive. This idea of making cybersecurity mandatory for critical operators is now the rule for all Europe. And it is a good thing to do. And it is done to help operators to react and to work with the states. And we also need companies that are able to provide secure products. We need trust service providers. I often explain to companies who want to protect themselves that there are things they have to do by themselves. And there are things that are very, very complex, related to very specific expertise. For example, when you need people who do audits, pen tests. Well, it's an expert's job, for sure. When you need people who are able to detect the attacks, well, nobody can say, okay, tomorrow I will be an expert in detection. No, it's not possible. When you need people who are able to react in case of problem, people who are able to do incident response, as we say, you need experts. And what we do in France is that we evaluate, we certify. In French we say we qualify them. And it means that based on a public set of rules for the companies who want to be evaluated, we work with them. And finally, if everything is fine, I am able to sign this kind of certification at the name of the Prime Minister, saying that those companies, they are good in their job and they can be trusted. Those two qualities are very different, as you understand. And it is necessary for the companies who want to use those services to be sure that the people with whom they are going to work, they are good, otherwise it's not necessary. That's nonsense. And they can be trusted. Just imagine, people who make audits, if you don't trust them, the solution is probably even worse than nothing. When you have people who are able to make detection, to detect the attackers, well, those people, they must look at all the data flow that comes in and out of your networks. If you don't trust them, it's preferable to do nothing. Okay. So of course I say Thales is part of those trusted companies in France. There are other ones. The list is public. And we consider that it is another role of a state agency like us to say, okay, you can work with this one, with this one. And of course, after the choice is not our problem. So, just in conclusion, it should be clear that even if it is easy to be scared by those scenarios, this is not the far future. This is reality today. With Internet of Things, with connected cars, with digital that goes everywhere, for sure, if it is not developed in a secure way, if it is not operated in a secure way, we will have very, very bad surprises. Well, for us it will not be surprises, but we'll have very bad consequences. And the political situation all around the world today clearly shows that we'll have conflicts in the future, and part of those conflicts will occur in the cyberspace. But cyberspace is not in the clouds, to use another expression. No, it can be very, very practical. It is linked to a physical world. So we really need to convince all the actors that are not experts in cybersecurity that they must be involved into this new way of developing digital systems. So I'm sure you will have a very interesting day, and thank you very much for listening. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Poupard. So the next thing we wanted to show you was to imagine you've all got a mobile phone in your pockets, and we wanted to show you what could happen to your mobile phone.
I've already turned my Wi-Fi off and Bluetooth off in anticipation of this.
Okay. So I'd like to invite up on stage Joanne and Thierry, who are two ethical hackers who work for Thales. And they're going to give you a little demonstration of what could happen to your mobile phone. So, off you go.
Hello everybody. Welcome to this Thales Media Day. I'm Joan Mazeng, and I'm in charge of the security evaluation team at Thales in Toulouse, in the south of France. I work for Thales for about 10 years now.
Hello. Hello, my name is Guillaume Poupard. I've just obtained my PhD in cybersecurity, and I joined Thales a few months ago. I'm working as a software security evaluator within the Joan's team.
So, how confident are you in your cybersecurity systems? That was the question asked in the video. Well, before the other speeches and the discussions you are all waiting for, we are going to show you a short demo about mobile security. Mr. Poupard was discussing about targeted attack, and we are going to show you just that. So for this demonstration, Tierno will play the role of the hacker. So what you see on this screen is Tierno's computer, so that everybody in the room can see it. And what you see on that screen is my mobile phone. So that everybody can see it as well. So this is my mobile phone. It's a bit old now. It's 3 to 4 years old, but I still like it. It's working pretty well, it's going fast, it takes nice pictures, lovely videos, and the battery still lasts more than 1 day, which is kind of a miracle with nowadays standards. So I have no reason to change it. That's clear. It's not been updated from a security point of view. It's been ages since I received the last security patch from the vendor, but who cares? I mean, millions of people are in the same case as me, so I will. Yeah, that's not an issue for me. But it turns out that this version of Android running this software has a vulnerability, and there's a vulnerability in the video player in this device. Tierno knows it, and he will use that against me.
Well, I'm going to send a message to Joan in order to exploit the vulnerability that is present in his device. And once the message will be received, a backdoor will be opened from his mobile, and I will be automatically connected. I will be automatically connected, and I will have full control of his device. So the text will be arrived in a few seconds. It's arrived. So now I have a full control of his device. I can see.
Wait. I received a text. That's from an unknown number, and there's a video in the text. In your opinion, should I open the video?
No. Yes.
No? Yes? No? Who says yes? You know what? That's never mind the video, that's too late. Because in order to show you the first picture, at least to try to show you the first picture, Android has downloaded the full content of the video. And it was not a real video. In fact, like Tierno was saying, it was trying to exploit the weakness in my device, and that's already too late. That's already too late. My mobile phone is working normally, but on the screen here, Tierno has already the control of my device.
So I'm now connected via the backdoor, and I can do a lot of things I want on his device. For example, one thing I'm maybe interested in is to read your SMS. So I'm gonna show you live here how I can download his SMS and read. So now here I have the list of all his SMS. Can you show to the auditor the SMS you have? And here I can read the exact SMS that he has in his device. Let's discuss the next contract. That sounds interesting message. And another thing I can do is to see his call history. to have a full list of his history with the duration, if the call is incoming, if it's outgoing. And that's very interesting. But I have another things that can be also much interesting. If I'm interested in knowing your position, where you are, and I can geolocate his mobile. I'm gonna show you all. Yeah, I'm sending the geolocation to Google Map. Here I can see that the victim is inside the Thales premises. So that's a good thing. And one last thing I would like to show you is if I'm interested in knowing what is going around you, I can use your very good camera to show what is turning around. So I can see how much cameras you have in your device by listing the cameras. I see that you have 2 cameras, front and back, but I'm interested in the back camera, so I'm streaming it on the live. Oh, so I can see the audience. So that's counting. Oh, someone is waving his hand. Okay. So I can even try if you want the front camera, or that's good.
And on my side, I can suspect nothing. My phone is just working normally, but Tiano is on it. But don't worry, our job at Thales is not to hack into the mobile device of our friends, family, or customers. We are serious people, and we are the good guys. Our mission at Thales is to develop and to deliver to our customers secure products and services. And in the south of France, we have a security lab where our job is to help our customers improve the security of their products. We do that through security evaluations, and we've been doing that for almost 20 years now. So we help them, and they trust us. Guillaume Poupard was discussing about the trust between actors, and that's exactly that. They trust us, and they've been trusting us for 20 years. They give us their products, and they trust us to try and hack into the device to see how much they can resist to attacks. And we started with smart card evaluations. It was in the late 90s, and since we have evaluated much more complex systems. We've been in charge of the evaluation of the Galileo positioning systems, the European positioning systems. And more recently, we were selected by Samsung, so the giant Korean firm, to evaluate the security of the whole Samsung Pay solution. So maybe some of you have already used it. It's running on Galaxy S device, tablets, and smartwatches. And Samsung selected Thales to perform the evaluation of the security of the full system. So, like I was saying, our mission is to check how much a product can resist to hackers. How does it reach a certain security standard? And when I say hacker, we are not dealing with the motivated geek that's in the basement of his parents' house. We need to take into account attacks that can be performed by highly skilled, highly trained, highly motivated, and more importantly, highly financed organizations, such as criminal organizations or even nation states. So, because everything can be cracked, it's just a matter of time, means, and expertise. So to make sure that your biometric passport cannot be cloned, to make sure that you can pay safely with your credit card or your mobile device, to make sure that you can rely on the European positioning systems, we need to put ourselves at the level of those hackers, and we need to deploy huge means. We are using tools and machines that are worth hundreds of thousands of euros each. And to operate them, only a few experts in Europe know how to use them. And one of our main challenges as a security lab is to always remain up to date, being always able to be aware of the latest attacks and being able to reproduce them on the device we have under evaluation. And to do that, for sure, we need means, but also we need experts. And to maintain the accreditation we have multiple accreditation. One is from NC. To maintain that, we need to have experts in all domains where information is processed. We need experts in physics, in electronics, in embedded code, in cryptography, obviously, and in IT security. And basically, we need the experts that will be able to evaluate properly the device and the data from the silicon of the chip up to the cloud. So and that was also the conclusion of Guillaume Poupard. We all hear about Internet of Things, smart cities, self-driving cars. We can right now have insulin pumps connected to the internet. So we all understand the threats and the what is at stake here. For my device, for instance, if it was up to date, it would have been far more difficult for Tierno to hack into it. And when it comes to security...
You mean your current phone?
Yes.
Yeah, not this one.
And yeah, because of all the security breaches, we always hear that companies are losing money, a lot of money, but maybe tomorrow we might also hear that people get killed in a car accident because the brakes of their car were disabled remotely. And we all understand what's at stake here, and that's why Thales, and you will see that today through the panels and the discussions, that Thales develops systems and solutions to help protect and defend against those kinds of attacks. Thank you all for your attention. If you have any questions, I will be happy to answer them at the break.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. So I hope that gave you just another warmer up for the day to see what is possible. And we didn't choose to take one of your mobile phones to do that either, which would have been fun. So next on the agenda, I'd like to welcome Marc Darmon on stage. Marc's a member of the Thales Executive Committee and in charge of the SIX business. So Marc, over to you.
So good morning everybody. Thank you for being here for this Thales Media Day on this subject. You understood that our goal is to make cybersecurity clearer to you, to be more precise, more concrete about what it is. It's not only hacking phones, it's a lot of different things in the threat and a lot of solutions. And we hope with this program at the end of the day, it will be much more clear. We in Thales, we have been working in cybersecurity for quite a long time, more than 40 years in fact. Today, securing the IT systems of more than 130 big companies or institutions which have real impact in the real life. For instance, securing and being part of the security of 19 of the largest 20 big banks, or securing 80% of the bank transactions. We have today more than 2,000 experts than the one you just seen, 2,000 experts globally. It's a huge number in this situation of scarce resources, I can tell you. We are a real operation player. We don't do cybersecurity only because of regulation. We know what it is about threats, and I will describe this as Guillaume Poupard did. And we have been an actor in this, in the security world, in the defense world, and in the critical national operator world for a long time. In fact, today, because digital transformation and digital is everywhere, we consider cybersecurity as the oxygen, as the lifeblood of our society, our connected society, sometimes over-connected society. You understood also that for us, cybersecurity, it's a business. It's a business which is very important for our customers, but it is also a key success point for all the businesses of Thales. And we have cybersecurity in all Thales systems, in air traffic management, in avionics, in transport signaling, in security systems, in space, in defense, of course. We have invested in Thales for the last 3 years more than €1 billion in digital technologies, artificial intelligence, big data, cybersecurity, and connectivity, Internet of Things. €1 billion, you know it because we have communicated on it with live TV for aerospace connectivity, for Vormetric in data protection, for Guavus in data analytics, without speaking about Gemalto, which will happen this year. So my introduction will be describing 5 big game changers in the digital world, the 4 key challenges that faces our customer. I will explain how we can have a AAA security. We'll describe the 2 parts of the agenda this morning, and I will finish with 1 vision of cybersecurity. So what are the 5 game changer, real transformation we have today in the digital world? It's a little bit technical, but you will say you know that. First, software is everywhere. The world today is software driven. Even the smartest hardware is full of software. And that's a real transformation we are seeing in these years. Secondly, data, and the importance of data is also everywhere. Data is a new gold, the new black gold of today. And data analytics and processing is a refineries of today. How to make use and value from data. So data is important as well. Every companies are moving to the cloud. It can be public cloud, private cloud, mixed cloud, but everybody is moving to the cloud. Everything can be bought today as a service. That means on the network, on the internet, on the cloud. And what we call the Internet of Things. The Internet of Things with more and more objects which are connected. We say in 2-3 years, more than 40 billion of objects will be connected. So, software is eating the world, data everywhere, everybody moving to the cloud, everything bought as a service, and Internet of Things and connecting of objects. Because of these 5 points, cybersecurity is a must. Because the points of potential attacks are everywhere, the vulnerability is very strong. And there is no digital transformation possible without trust and digital trust. And there is no digital trust without digital cybersecurity. In the last data threat survey that we have published this year, 36% of the companies which have been surveyed say that they have been under serious attack. 36%, it was 26% the year before. 44% of them, they consider that their data are at risk and under threat. This is also an increasing number. So these 5 game changers in the digital world, that makes cybersecurity a must. So what are the 4 capability challenges that faces our customer? Our customers, institutions, critical national operators, big companies. Detect threat early. Prevent attacks actively. Speed up and help the decisions when we have an attack. And foster actions and speed up actions and reactions when there is an attack. So that's the 4 parts. So first, detect threat early. Knowing the threat in advance and detect it. You have seen some examples of the expertise we can have for analyzing the vulnerability, penetration testing, defining the security policy of a company or an administration, making tests of vulnerability, as they explained, on the new terminals, the new systems. Having a threat analysis and a threat intelligence. We are also developing a cybersecurity detection probe, une sonde de détection en français, to detect the cyber attack, but to detect it with a lot of intelligence inside. So, because this probe, this detection probe, it's fed with a lot of existing attacks, but also with a lot of intelligence, which are able to see abnormal behavior and an attack which has not been reported yet. So this detection probe is quite important. So first, detect threat early. Secondly, actively prevent attacks. So Guillaume Poupard said it, the first point is cyber secured by design. To develop our system, cyber secured. Cybersecurity is one of the key elements of the design, as the size, the features, the consumption, etc. Cybersecurity is taken into account from the design, but it's not all. To prevent the attack, one big solution is data protection, encryption. You protect data at rest, data in your servers, data in the cloud. You protect data in motion, so you secure and you encrypt the communications. And you protect data in use, which means data in the applications. So you will see some demonstrations about how to secure this kind of data, including mobile security. So first, detect threat. Secondly, prevent the attack. Third, when there is an attack, foster and speed up the decisions. So knowing what's happening and react fastly. So for this, the great solution is security operation centers. You will see later over there a demonstration of what is a cybersecurity operation center. A kind of control tower of cybersecurity to monitor in real time what's happening in the IT or in industrial systems, and to be able to detect abnormal situations and cyber attack. In fact, a system like this, it deals with billions of IT events, and it transforms that in some real critical situation and events to deal with a lot of skills, but also a lot of intelligence inside. We have a full practice of threat intelligence to be able to gather the threat knowledge that is everywhere to be able to be more performant. And also we have developed, and you will see it as well, some training for the people in the cybersecurity, so that they can react firstly. So the Cyber Lab demonstration you will see is how to train people so that they can decide and understand what's happening faster. And fourth point is rapid reaction, response. The same skills that you have seen, able to respond when the people are under attack. So the people of the SOC, the Security Operations Center, are coupled with response team, which are able to decide to react to a company when it's urgent. So what we do in Thales is these 4 points. So upstream, detect the threat and detect the vulnerability, penetration testing and defining the security policy. Then securing the system with encryption, data protection, cyber secure by design. Then the monitoring with the cybersecurity operation centers. And then the response team to be able to react when they are under attack. So, as Guillaume Poupard said, for instance, in France, but this business is completely global, we have a lot of competitors, but probably very few able to deal with this complete cycle. So, thanks to this, we can deliver a AAA security, AAA. Active, adaptive, always learning. En français, adaptatif, actif et apprenante. So an active security, what it means, like a car, which is always detecting obstacles, and to become an autonomous car, detecting obstacles to be able proactively to manage the speed. An active security systems is always looking at what's happening, the new threats, the new change in the environment, and be able to not only be reactive, but really active security. Adaptive means that we have to adapt constantly to what's happening, a new threat, but also a new change in the environment. For instance, I said that everybody, everything, every institution is moving to the cloud. One big trend today is what we call multi-tenant cloud. So companies, we move to several clouds in parallel. So having part of the data on Amazon, part of the data on Microsoft, some on Google, etc. So we supply to this cloud service provider the way to secure that sensitive platform. So we provide to Amazon, to Microsoft Azure, to Salesforce.com, the security for their sensitive platform. And it allows the consumer of this platform, the customer of this platform, to manage the level of protection for their sensitive data according to the level of sensitivity. So that's adaptive and always learning, apprenante en français. Of course, artificial intelligence and machine learning is everywhere to be able to detect things faster and to understand what's happening and to suggest reactions. So in our probes, I say, in our detection probes, we have had some systems which allow to detect abnormal behavior, even if in advance, you have not said what is abnormal or not. So it's able to detect attacks which have not been reported before. An antivirus, it works with detecting an existing virus and stopping it. Here, we need to detect existing threats, but we need also to detect threats which are, we call 0 day, the first day of this threat. And so this, we need to detect an attack which has been seen for the first time. And for this, you need data analytics and artificial intelligence to detect things which are just abnormal and not current. So you will see also a demonstration of this. So AAA security, active, adaptive, and always learning. So now I come to the two parts of the day. You have 1 hour of demonstrations, and you will see our presenters will present how to secure the cloud, an airport, air traffic management, what the security operation center is. You will see our secure systems for phones, etc. And then 1 hour of discussions and roundtable with our experts on the key questions you have. How can we hack a plane? Can we hack a connected car? What is about big data in cybersecurity, etc. And all of this before the coming of Patrice Kane, which will make the conclusion. So I finish with one vision of cybersecurity. I will repeat, no digital transformation without digital trust, no digital trust without cybersecurity. And that's why cybersecurity is the lifeblood of our society. La cybersécurité, c'est l'oxygène de nos sociétés connectées. We make cybersecurity a business in itself, as we consider that to be able to have 2,000 experts at the top level of what the threats are, they need to be completely a real business connecting to the real threat, but also a real discriminator and a real element of the complete Thales offer in avionics, in flight entertainment, so in aerospace, in space systems, in transport signaling, in air traffic management, in defense, in security. And that's this dual approach of cybersecurity is a key element for us. So digital transformation is a key movement where Thales is engaged in, and cybersecurity is a condition of it. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Marc. Are there any questions? Or des questions? Yeah.
Yeah, I was just wondering, the first speaker was talking about the need for companies to be, certified. How often is this certification updated? Is it weekly, monthly? I mean, you couldn't let it go too long before the bad guys figure out ways how to make the certification useless.
So, in fact, we have two levels. We have the big companies and we have the expert like us. So what Guillaume Poupard described is that experts like us, there are several levels of certifications. We are certified or not for consulting. We are certified or not for threat and attack detection. We are certified or not for response team. And this level, and that's a continuous assessment that you can see the French NSA, but the same for GCHQ in the UK and our partner in Germany, etc. They do on a regular basis. For companies, there is no certification per se. The critical national infrastructure providers in largest countries, they have to, by law, comply to certain level, not of certification, but of equipment. Having suppliers like us for their monitoring, for their solutions, for the IT assessment of their IT. And this also has to be done on a regular basis. As Guillaume Poupard said, we need to equip the systems. But the first protection is standard protection. Respect rules. Respect rules, for instance, it's important to understand that we also need to update on a regular basis the systems we have. I'm sure you have all seen the Desposito clip recently, and probably some of you know that it had been hacked yesterday. The average time between a failure, not failure, but a weakness in the system, and the time to be able to attack it, the average time is 20 days. So average time between a weakness and the correction of the system in a company is 200 days. So updating the system on a regular basis is a first step. But that's only for the simple weaknesses. After that, you need what we said, threat assessment, monitoring, and putting your system under control by a security operations center, and having a response team available in your supplier to be able to react in case of attack.
Okay, any other questions here?
Yes, thank you. Cybersecurity is always treated as a technical problem, and as a matter of fact, it is. But before taking the technical steps, you have to decide who is a friend and who is a villain. Who takes these decisions, and who is a villain? Everybody who doesn't have an authorization to access a system, or is it a broader definition?
Again, this question has two levels, because there is no politics or strategy here. So it's not exactly who is the threat, who is the villain. In fact, a big company don't care if they are attacked by a national competitor or a very far away Asian state. They don't really care. They are under attack and they have sensitive data to protect. But your point is different. Your point is, in a company, you have to be sure to know what are the policy, the security policy, who has access as what. And you're right, and that's why I put that at the beginning of my speech, analyzing the vulnerability and defining the security policy of a company. Who has access of what? How to make sure that the most critical data are not accessed by everyone in the company, for instance. And that's a key element. And when we have our expertise team working with big companies, they work on the technical point about where are the weaknesses in the system, but they work also on defining the real security policy. What are the sensitive data and what data are less sensitive? Who has access of what? How can we separate the data? How can we replicate the data, etc.? And you're right, it's not only technical, it's also in the culture and the policy of the company. But not in the geopolitics and strategy, because it has no real impact. As I said, when you have a big oil company in Europe, knowing if it's attacked by another oil company or by foreign states is not important.
Okay, any other questions?
You mentioned that you were involved in securing Samsung Pay, or at least your ethical hackers mentioned it. I'm just wondering, how difficult was it to do that? How long did it take? I'm sure there's things you can't say, but I mean, that's something that is involving banks and smartphones around the world. And maybe you can also talk about the minimum level of smartphone OS that you allow. You must say that the company can only use certain brands and certain types of smartphones with certain versions of Android or iOS.
To avoid to frustrate you, I think you should keep your question for the experts who will have later, because there are people who are doing it themselves. But just to make it clear, we do two kinds of things. We secure systems, and we certified and assess systems, which is different. For instance, we secure Apple Pay, and we certified and test Samsung Pay. And so we are involved in both, but it's not the same action. Certification, it was a question we had recently, is a regular process. So we have checked it for Samsung once. It took several weeks in several steps, and probably they will intervene on a regular basis as well. But please ask them.
Thank you.
Yep.
Laurent Barthélémy from Agence France Presse. I was wondering if you could give us a sort of general view of the cybersecurity business in Thales operations, in terms, I don't know, in share of turnover, number of people working for cybersecurity, that kind of thing. Just give us a kind of general view on how the cybersecurity business is important for Thales in this business.
usually we don't communicate on branches, so I don't know what figures are public, Matt. Sorry for this.
Well, I think the public figure is 500, isn't it? 500 million euros in cybersecurity.
Or pure, in this case, it's pure external business.
Yep. In terms of people, Cedric, was it 400, isn't it?
So it's for 4,000 people, 2,000 experts, pure experts, and 4,000 people working.
And if I may, just give us a sense of how it's increasing, how fast it's increasing. I bet it's increasing, but can you give us a sort of an general idea of it without giving precise numbers?
For the figures of Thales, I will not answer, sir. For the business in cybersecurity, we consider it's growing between 9 and 11% yearly. That's what is globally recognized as a market evolution. But cybersecurity is quite large world, as we say.
Yep.
Sorry, Alex again from itwire.com in Australia. What work are you doing with artificial intelligence and machine learning, which presumably will be used by the bad guys to try and, always stay one step ahead of you?
So what do we do?
Yeah, with all the growing artificial intelligence and machine learning out there that is, trying to automate and be as powerful as your 2,000 experts.
So, artificial intelligence, it's a technology. So you can use to attack and you can use to defend. So what we can use to defend, I try to explain. You can make your detection smarter. You can make your reaction and your understanding of the situation faster. And you will see demonstrations, especially in the probe and in the Security Operations Center. For the attack, it's just another technology. So anyway, in general in cybersecurity, the goal is to be as fast as the attackers. So because of cybersecurity, because of artificial intelligence, we have to be fast. Because of quantic computing, we have to be fast. Before of connection of everything, we have to be fast. Anyway, it's only one element, additional element, which makes that the attackers are more and more professional. And we, cyber defenders, we need to be more and more professional. So we don't have specific things because of cyber artificial intelligence. We know this, and we work out on a regular basis how to improve. But threat intelligence, the knowledge of the threat and evolution of the threat, it's a full-time job that we have in Thales. And by the way, a lot of companies are subscribing our threat intelligence feeds as it is a key element of inputs of our actions.
Okay, any more questions? Une question en français si on veut.
Avec plaisir.
Okay, well thank you Marc. So for the next part of the day, you will have a badge, and on your badge you've enrolled in demonstrations. The demonstrations are going to take place behind me in this room, in the room next door, and in the room behind. So if you turn your badge around, you'll see where you asked to go. The press team are here to help you get to that location. We'll do the first round, we'll have a break, and then we'll have the round tables. If you do want to grab a quick coffee to take with you, feel free to do so. The other thing, just to highlight as well, we have also a demonstration. You'll see behind me a poster about Citadel. So Citadel is our secured application. It was used during the Gemalto deal to keep it secret, and we have Gauthier, the gentleman over the back there with a very bright white jumper Citadel. He'll be there to brief you so you can actually see what that's about. So we'll start the demonstrations. Just look on your badge, and the press team can help you move you to that location. And if you're lost, just come and see me and we'll help you. Okay? Faut le faire français ou pas?